Last fall, both of these lawnmowers were brought to me as possible repair subjects. But inevitably, both of the owners decided these machines weren't worth repairing. I don't know if they didn't have very much money or what. So they've been sitting next to my garage here all winter, and I figure instead of just junking them, maybe it's worth a shot to even see if they run. The reason I decided to give these machines a shot, pardon the wind noise, is they actually look pretty good, especially for supposed junkers. I mean, there's no big rust holes in the deck, they both seem to pull over fine and have good compression, and they'll both sell for a good bit once I'm finished. Both of these mowers are basically the same thing, just slightly updated in revision. This one's an older model Craftsman. It's got a 6.5 horse Briggs & Stratton on it. And this one here is a Troy-Bilt with a 6.75 foot-pounds gross torque engine on it, so that's about 6 horsepower as well. And they both have the Briggs & Stratton Quantum-style engine, which is probably one of the most popular lawnmower engines ever made. The only big difference between these two engines, and it's not even that big of a difference, is this one here. It has an automatic choke carburetor versus this one, as you can see, it just has a primer button. We'll start with this one here, and I'll just give the cord a pull to see if it's got compression on it. The compression feels a little weak, but I think it's enough for it to run. I see people on the internet who go through so much trouble trying to get lawnmowers they find to start. They find a lawnmower, proceed to disassemble 3/4 of the engine, and it ends up needing a carburetor cleaning or a spark plug or something. I am much more low-tech. Basically, my test to see if an engine is viable is I take the air filter off, spray some starter fluid in it, put the air filter back on again, and we'll just pull the string and see if it fires. It's basically the easiest way to test compression, ignition, the valves, etc. Oh, almost. I'd say that'll run. Pro tip to everybody working on lawnmowers in their driveway: when you're working with gas and oil and things like that, put on a pair of these mechanics gloves. They're really cheap, and believe me, your girlfriend or boyfriend will thank you profusely when your hands don't smell like gas. So we're just going to unscrew this here. And we're going to see what treasures it holds. Oh joy. Oh, I'm going to say pretty conclusively, that's what was wrong with it. Ugh. Okay, so I took the physical jet screw out of the carburetor, so now I'm going to make sure all the little holes in here are clean. You can still see air through that one. Light, I mean, not air. But I'm going to make sure that this one's clean. The way I'm going to do that is just by taking a really fine wire and just poking it through here repeatedly. If you clean a lot of carburetors, getting one of these carburetor cleaning tools is really beneficial. They have all of these little tiny wires on little pieces of metal that you can flip out like a Swiss Army knife and easily clean out all the little passages in jets and carburetors and everything like that. So you can just push this one right in there and make sure that all the little holes in there are nice and clean. Like that, see? And it's really beneficial. Alright, back down on terra firma, so I'm just going to hit this a few times. The primer button. And we're going to see if it goes. I'd say that's a success. since I'm trying to beat the rain, let's just move right along and look at this one next. As I mentioned in the first part of the video, this is a 21-inch Troy-Bilt with a 6-horse Briggs & Stratton on it. I'm going to do the same technique that I used on the green mower of spraying some starter fluid into the air filter just to basically test all the systems. This mower actually came with the discharge chute as well, which is nice. But all you do is you just take off this air filter here. And we'll take a look at that. So it's got some dirt in it, but it's not too bad. And then I'm just going to spray some starter fluid right into the engine here. And put the air filter back on. And we will see if the engine starts. Doesn't seem like it wants to go. Oh, almost. Whoa! Did you catch that? It just kicked back. I'm gonna bet this one has a broken flywheel key. Flywheel key is a fail-safe mechanism between the crankshaft and the flywheel. It's a small piece of metal that's softer than both the crankshaft and the flywheel. And basically how it works is if you hit something really hard, like a rock or something, instead of the force being transferred up and the momentum of the flywheel just twisting the top of the crankshaft off, it twists the flywheel key in half so that more catastrophic damage doesn't occur. Luckily, it's pretty easy to replace a flywheel key, so we'll get on to that. So I'm going to start by unscrewing this plastic shroud cover thing over the engine. Man, that is one loud bird. Just take these two Phillips screws off, and this plastic decorative shroud thing will just come right off of the engine. So put that off to one side. Next, take off the 3 screws that hold the gas tank on, plus the one down at the bottom, underneath where the fuel line is. I'm just going to use an impact gun because I'm trying to be quick here. Okay, so now that you've unscrewed all the bolts of the gas tank, you should just be able to lift it off like so. You don't actually have to remove it or drain any of the gas, just sort of leave it alone over here. Let me just make sure you can see that. Right here, just off to the side. And then just go ahead and just get yourself a 10mm and just take out, there's 2 screws back here and 2 on the front of this cover, and you can take off the recoil assembly with the dipstick attached and everything. It's super easy. Okay, now that you've removed the 4 screws, you can just basically grab this and pull it off. Sometimes it's a little stuck with this bracket here, but just sort of bend it around a little bit and it just pops off like so. We can just set that over to one side like that. Next, we want to remove this bolt that holds the starter cup to the flywheel and the flywheel to the crankshaft. You're going to need this big 1-inch socket to do that, and an impact driver is recommended because that way you don't risk breaking any of the fins off of the flywheel trying to jam a screwdriver into it and use like a normal breaker bar. So we're just going to do this. Hey, you see how easy that was? That was just the first time I undid it. That's why you use an impact gun and not a breaker bar. Okay, so we're looking at the flywheel key now, and you can definitely see the flywheel key is broken. The flywheel key is right here, and the slot where it should be is right here. So that means that the flywheel has actually twisted on the shaft quite a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pry the flywheel up with a big pry bar or something, and then replace the flywheel key with a new one and bolt it all back together and see if it starts. Okay, so I took off the flywheel, and as you can see, the flywheel key is just totally broken off. This should be like that, and it's just completely smashed. So I'm gonna just pry this little piece out of there, put a new one in, and then we'll just bolt the flywheel back together again. Okay, so put a new flywheel key in this. Don't have to prime it, it's an automatic choke. So I'm just gonna go pull the string and see if it starts. Just gonna put the string back through the little holder thing on the handle. Well, I think that was what was wrong with that one. Hey, not bad for free, eh? So, the only thing I have to do to these now, I'm just going to power wash them to get all of the dirt and the grime and everything off. And then I can just list them on Craigslist or eBay or wherever. And probably sell them for about $100. Not $100 each. They don't look great. So, probably like $60 each is what I'll list these at. But still, not bad for free, and didn't take too much time or effort to get them running. So I guess this is sort of if anybody's watching and you have an old lawnmower sitting around, most problems with these are super simple to fix. Just, clean the carburetor, replace a flywheel key, spark plug, something like that, and you'll have yourself a nice running machine for not too much effort. So until next time, everyone, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.